Okay, hello ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about the delay. We've been trying to sort out some sound for you. So my name's Della Hudson, and I was invited to come and speak on social media for accountants after we came 20th in the list of top financial influencers on the Economia list last year. So, no, we're 26th last year. We've been 20th in the past. Retailers have a shop window in which you can see what they're selling. They invite you in to touch and feel. And whether what you're buying is cheap or expensive, you have the right to take it back. But as professional services, people need an opportunity to see something about us beforehand. They need a frame, a window through which to see us, which we can do with speaking, with writing. But that takes up people's time. So to capture their attention in the first place, you need to get out there and meet them. So I know what sort of audience I'm talking to. Would you mind raising your hand if you're not on social media yet, or if you feel it's not working for you? Okay, so we have a few people there. And I do have to say, social media isn't right for everyone, and hopefully this will help you to decide. And other people, it's working more or less okay for you and you just want a few extra tips, is that right? Excellent. So we'll try and pitch something for everyone. And also for the introverts amongst you who thought it was a bit risky to even raise your hand. Because while social media networking does work best when combined with face-to-face networking, it's also a very good way for introverts to network. And as a lot of accountants are introverts, it's a good way to do it. Also, even if you don't mind walking into a room full of strangers, it's a lot easier if you walk into that room and people know you and all the extroverts come running up and go, "Hello, how nice to see you." So let's start with some tips. Social media can extend your reach geographically. It can help you to punch above your weight. Like I said, we came 20th, and for a small firm of chartered accountants, I was quite pleased with that. It was me running the social media. And the top 10 on that list, they're all people you'd know from TV and radio. They were really famous. So we can punch above our weight, as well as extend our reach geographically. There are various channels that you can use to get your message out on social media. I'm just looking at the three main ones. LinkedIn is where the business people hang out. They use slightly more formal language. Hopefully they don't go full-blown manager speak. It's where people might be wearing suits. Facebook, that's where people are hanging about on the beach. If you're marketing to individuals, you'll find them on there, and also smaller businesses will often market through Facebook, through personal connections there. Twitter sits somewhere in the middle. I find it a particularly good way of showing the personal side of the profession. It used to be really lovely when it was limited to 140 characters, and the mental gymnastics to make your message fit into 140 characters and still preserve correct grammar and punctuation. Yeah, I'm a geek on that. So with 280 characters now, it's child's play. You need to choose the channel that's right for you, the one where your target market hangs out, and the one that suits your style. So I'd like to work through your social media networking in much the same way you would with your face-to-face networking. We'll start with the photograph on your profile. When you go to a face-to-face event, do you turn up with a paper bag over your head? Make sure there's a nice photograph on there. Make sure it's a professionally taken photograph. And there's somebody here the headshot guy is hanging around on one of the stands today, if you haven't already got one. You wouldn't take your kids, your dog, your best mate along to a business networking event. So a photograph with any of them wouldn't really be appropriate if you're trying to use this as a business. If you take a crop out of an existing photo, as some people do, it's the equivalent of those thin, cheap business cards that you get online. You may have had them when you first started up. We're all watching the pennies, but certain things are worth investing in to create the right impression. So good business cards, professionally taken headshot, smiling in a professional way. And I would say either look straight to the front or look to the left. You can see most social media, your headshot sits on the left-hand side, so this way you're looking towards the text. You're inviting people in rather than turning your back on them. So what do you put online? What do you post? If you're using something like Twitter, I'd say about a third social, chit-chat, about a third sharing about business in general, about the industry that you niche in, about your local businesses in the area, and about a third about your own business. Just as at face-to-face networking events, you don't hog the conversation, you get to interact. Don't just broadcast on social media. You want to do things that invite people to interact with you, to talk to you. And I realise that I've skipped over the bit on your biography, which is the little bit at the top of the page. On Twitter, you can put in a few personal things as well. Things like, I'm a triathlete and a tea addict. So when I did an Ironman last year, I had 15 hours without a cup of tea. I was greeted at the finish line with a bottle of champagne and a flask of tea. I had 2 sips of the champagne and then all the tea. So it's the sort of thing that makes it easy for people to talk to you. They know something about you. They can relate to you. Don't forget to put a link in to your business website, some way that people can connect with you, because that's what you want them to do. So when you're on to the actual content, the things you can chat about, I've suggested things, for me it's triathlon. At a face-to-face event, you might talk about golf, you might talk about your kids. Be very careful online, you don't really know who you're talking to. So I tend to avoid posting photographs of my kids or mentioning their names or ages. Just be a little bit wary. Most people are absolutely gorgeous, you're all lovely, but there is the odd person out there. On the business sharing, we would share information from our clients, from other businesses in the area, generally useful stuff. On the odd occasion, if another accountant had written something particularly good, I'd kick myself for not writing it first, but I would retweet it because that would benefit people. And in business, if we look after our clients, even if they don't become our clients, we're doing the right thing. And the things about our own business, we used to run events, so I would post things about the events that were coming up, and then after the event, I would post a blog and a little video clip that had been extracted from the talk. For heaven's sake, if I'm going to do this public speaking, you're going to see it everywhere. And the same with the articles as well. If you write an article for a local paper, put it on your blog as well, either as it stands or just adapt it. Reuse your material, make the most of your marketing stuff. We've all got far too much to do to reinvent the wheel. And all this takes a certain amount of time, which can be done in various different ways. I used Hootsuite. There's a free version. There's also a professional version that's only something like $99. About once a month, I would sit down and schedule 3 tweets a day for Twitter, various subjects, and it also abbreviates your links, which on Twitter is quite important because you've got limited space, limited characters. On LinkedIn and Facebook, which move much more slowly, I could put just 1. Also be aware that you need to be doing enough interactive tweeting to absorb that many broadcast tweets. I usually tweet about 20 things a day, so 3 easily gets lost in amongst there. Whereas on LinkedIn, I'm maybe half a dozen, so 1 is about right for me. I don't use Facebook anymore now, I don't have the practice. Finding the time to do it. Fortunately, none of you see me at 7 o'clock in the morning before my first cup of tea. I am absolutely incapable of anything till I've had that first cup of tea. But it's a perfect time to just scan down my timeline to see what's been going on, retweet a few interesting things, reply to a few comments online. So it's time I couldn't usefully be doing anything else while I wake up. I tend to do that on my iPad as well rather than on my phone because even my eyes aren't open at that time in the morning. The other time I find it very useful is 5 o'clock, which business-wise is dead time for me. I'm cooking dinner, I'm supervising the kids with their homework. If you've got kids, you've probably been there, done that, trying to juggle everything at once. And it's nice to be able to just chat to other people around. So for me, it's not prime business time. And this is what I mean. If that is your prime business time you're giving up in order to post on social media, that's actually quite precious time. So work out how much you can afford of your time to spend on this. You do need to be available throughout the day to respond to things. So if you're running a campaign, people will interact and you must be able to get back to them within a reasonable amount of time. On Twitter, you'd expect it to be the same day. LinkedIn, Facebook, you could probably get away with a week, but it's the faster you get back, the better. So we've got Fred Astaire looking for his new dance partner. You see the tweet, you call on Ginger. Ginger, he's after a dance partner. And Ginger's nowhere to be seen. Fred needs to audition this week. Ginger's gone, the opportunity's lost. One of the most iconic dance partnerships in the world hasn't happened because Ginger wasn't there. If you're going to be on social media, be there. So I've been speaking mainly about Twitter, which is much faster moving. And the other very good business platform is LinkedIn. With LinkedIn, you would use different language. You would use more formal language. I would rarely post anything purely social on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has your main page, where you can post a bit about you, and effectively your CV. Now, because I was trying to promote my business, all my old items on my CV I just kept as the job title and the company, because there were some quite impressive companies on there, because I didn't want to distract from the main thing. But it depends what you're using it for, what you include on there. The more information you put on there, the easier it is for people to find you. So if you've done something that will help to attract people to interact with your business, then put it on there. You then have a separate page for your business. So you'll post a lot of the stuff both on your personal profile and on your business profile, but you only interact as an individual. The nice thing on LinkedIn are the groups. Join a group. Join a group of accountants by all means. We all like to hang out with accountants, don't we? But more useful for your business is to join a local business community group. Or if you have a niche, a specialism, join their group. Once you're in the group, you can ask questions. And please, real questions, not those fake, fixed questions to prompt a specific response. They're a bit false, and I really hate them. And occasionally you might get it wrong, but try not to come across that way. And when people ask questions, you can respond as well. You can answer. You can become known as the helpful accountant in your area, in your niche. I've spoken so far about using LinkedIn as a lead generation, as a marketing tool. But social media is very useful in other ways as well. You can keep in touch with your current clients when they chat about what they're doing. You can help them. It might be paid work. It might be unpaid, and you just get brownie points and loyalty. But if you're trying to be an advisor, and this is a big thing at the moment now, getting into that advisory role, it's all about communication. And this is a very good way of communicating with lots of your clients for not much effort. It does take some, of course. It's also useful for finding out what your competitors are doing. My local competitors, for the most part, were just broadcasting on social media. They were putting useful but not very exciting things about their tax deadlines this month. If you can come up with something more interesting, who do you think they're going to choose? The one who's out there doing things in the community, or the one who's posting those deadlines? And we all need deadlines. And collaboration. We're not in war-torn Europe at the moment. We are allowed to collaborate with each other. I know lots of fabulous accountants and thought leaders, as they are often known within the industry. And a lot of them are speaking here today, so do take advantage. But if somebody does something good, chat to them, see how you can adapt the idea for your practice. Again, don't reinvent the wheel. People are usually very happy to help you. We can each only deal with so many clients, or our particular niche, or our particular geography, whichever. We're not always in competition. And even where we are, there's enough business out there. So work with those people. I've got about 20 people I'm going to try and meet up with today. So in the end, I extended my train ticket, so I'm here tomorrow as well, just to chat to people face to face. And when you do meet up with people face to face, remember what you tell your kids. And if you're not a parent, then you probably know the theory even better. Meet in a public place. This is exceedingly public, or another local networking event, whatever. If they don't have their own staffed offices, you can use a local cafe or a business lounge or something like that to extend the relationship. Because this is where the real gold dust is when you meet people face to face. Make sure somebody knows where you're going, where you'll be back. So all the usual things that you possibly do already when going to those first client meetings if they don't come to you. And if you're not comfortable meeting somebody, just say no. Your safety comes first. I've got somebody who invited me for a game of squash. He was a little bit creepy. He may have just been overly demonstrative, but I wasn't happy and I did say no. So put your safety first. A lot of people think that the more followers you've got, the better you're doing. But we're accountants. We know to look beyond the numbers. We want quality connections. So there are ways that you can get thousands of connections, but if they're genuine interactive connections, you don't actually need that many. You just need enough. This is my absolutely best tweet numerically. I got over 3,000 likes, retweets, responses, chats, debates, arguments. It was slightly controversial, which isn't something I usually do. I try and stay away from religion and politics, like any good dinner party. But very few of those people who interacted were business owners, my target market. So it's all very well, and great chat, great debates, but that didn't do anything for my business. So some of the things that you can do for your business, feel free to take a photo or connect with me later, and I'll forward it to you. If you're not set up yet on social media, do it. Give it a go. It may be some of the people here who weren't set up yet, you will decide it's not for you. And like I say, that's an equally valid outcome. You'll have saved your time just for the sake of a half-hour chat here. Get your headshot updated. I would love to have a photo of me 20 years ago. I was slim, I was gorgeous. Well, compared to now. I didn't have all these laughter lines. But people wouldn't be able to recognize me. The number of people today who've already come up to me to say hello because they know me online. They recognize me because I have a photo and I deliberately dress the same way. I have my hair down, I have my contact lenses in, so that people can come and see me. I try and brand wherever possible. So get a fresh headshot that actually looks like you. Not your logo, Andrew, or a muted picture. Sorry, Andrew and I have just met for the first time today, face to face, but we've been interacting online for years now. Make sure your biography is up to date. And you can change it every so often, just to be a bit daring, a bit risky. And especially your LinkedIn one. Basic, make sure your website link is in your biography or however you want people to contact you. Try scheduling some posts. I use Hootsuite, there are other things available. And even if you just do the basic and then log in and just chat to people around that. Link to other content on your website. This will improve your SEO and push you up the searchability, get you on that front page. Spend time scheduling. It might need to be 30 minutes a day, if you can commit to that. And I would say have one main channel and perhaps a secondary one, because unless you've got a full-time social media person working with you, then you can't afford to spend time on much more. And even if you are using an expert, do be very careful what they're doing. We had a client once who used an expert, and twice she took 2 weeks to respond to my tweets. And when I pointed this out to them, because they were a very customer-focused, responsive organisation, this wasn't them at all. So they decided to stop it. What they could have done is have the certain amount of it outsourced, so they did the bits about the business, the scheduled tweets, had the strategy, and they could have had one of the directors or somebody else in-house doing the chit-chat. And to get the most out of it, unless you really are intensely introverted, I'd say pick somebody you get on well with online and arrange to have a coffee with them and a chat face to face. And find an offline person, somebody you know face to face but don't see often enough, and you can keep in touch with them online. LinkedIn has testimonials, references. Write a testimonial for somebody that you've worked with. They might even write one back for you. Or, if you're feeling brave enough, you could ask somebody to write a testimonial for you. Join a LinkedIn group. And whatever platform you're using, thank people and praise people publicly, whether it brings you business or not. It's just nice to be a nice person. So in the same way that the golf course was a perfect place for the previous generation or more traditional accountants to network, we're now based in the cloud. We're doing things virtually. You can get out there. You can extend your reach geographically. You can punch above your weight. I seriously believe that social media will get you a lot more interest than playing golf, says the woman who has never picked up a set of golf clubs in her life. One day, when I retire. But for the time being, I'm staying in the dry while other people can network in the rain on the golf course. So if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn or on Twitter, my details are there. And we've just got time to take some more questions if people have questions. Anybody feel that there are extra bits they could be doing, something they're not quite sure about? Okay, well, thank you very much for coming along, and feel free to come and chat.